This is awesome. So Eric, this is the property that you found and paid $400,000 for the whole thing. Is that correct?
A little bit. Yeah, 404 or so. Yeah.
And it also has a buildable lot, correct?
That's right. Yeah.
With it, and it's a legal lot of record.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome. So through my training, and you know, us meeting about 5 years ago, by default you learned how to do this.
Yeah.
Similar to if you bought my manual, learned all that.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then went through the process of understanding this, you would have went out and found this property that made you a huge profit, which I'm going to ask you about in a second.
Sure.
So just to understand, you bought this house here with the buildable lot for $400,000, and it was just a contact that you had that knew about this person that wanted to sell it.
Yeah, it was a contact of mine, actually a neighbor.
Yeah.
And it was a lady who'd been here for many years, owned it with her husband, and then had to move out, and it was in disrepair.
Right.
So it needed a lot of work. But she also, you know, she knew it was a double lot, but not that it was maybe a buildable lot, because the line went through the garage, you know, so
it looks really confusing.
It's confusing, like it's a house on a double lot instead of a house and a lot.
Right.
Which is, we know through training that you can split those if you know the way to do it.
Right.
And take the steps to do so.
So basically understanding my process, how I do it, and learning from me, you knew that when you saw it that this was an easy one.
Correct.
That you could do it quick and efficiently.
Yeah.
Split the lot in a week or two, and then fix up the house to whatever level you wanted to, and then maximize the value of the house.
Right. Right.
That's great. So you sold the house for how much?
So we fixed it up. We spent about $70,000, give or take, probably a little more, fixing it up, and then we ended up selling it to a retail buyer at $575. It's a great neighborhood.
Wow.
Obviously. So, you know, on its own, you would think if it wasn't a buildable lot, that's not maybe an incredible profit for the risk.
Right.
Right. Just on its own with the house. But then when you combine a prime location buildable lot, it makes obviously all the sense in the world.
See, that's what I train my students is why buy just a fixer-upper when you can buy a fixer-upper that also has a buildable lot with it.
Right.
I mean, you multiply the profit by, you know, 5 times or 10 times
a lot,
when you do that. So I know this lot here, the value of it, because you were gracious enough to give me the pre-sale on it. So
found a buyer.
I'm building this for a customer, a brand new home, and I know you just sold this lot for $300,000.
Right.
Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah. Yeah. It's, again, great location.
Yeah.
And it's
Fine
something.
neighborhood.
It's something that when you look at it, you know, a lot of people think, well, what can we do with it? You know, they don't see the vision until you kind of show them the vision.
Yep.
Right. And so with your team and your process of showing people what can be built there and how they could make it their dream home.
Yep.
You know, that's what we were able to work off of to, you know, grab this buyer who's now under contract with you basically to build this. So,
So I'm going to make a big profit in my general contractor fee building this house, but you made a huge profit. Let's see, so you sold the house, or you bought the whole thing for $400,000. You sold the house for $585, $575, and the lot for $300,000. So if my math is correct, you sold this whole thing for $875,000, and you paid $400,000. So your gross profit is $475,000 minus about $100,000 in fix-up and costs.
Sure,
so your net profit is approximately $375,000 on this.
Yeah, it's a nice one. Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
So, you know, this is what you learn when you read my manual and you go through my training. You can find these all across the country where you buy a house that has a buildable lot. We all know that a house on a big lot is worth much less than a house on a little bit smaller lot plus a buildable lot.
Right.
And the beauty of that is knowing that you can go around and search these and find the home runs like this. This is great.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thanks for showing me this.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
appreciate it.
Yeah, you bet.